Hello, everybody. Welcome to another review of What We Do in the Shadows. This is for episode 7, and it's called The Trial. In the last episode, the Baron accidentally got killed by Guillermo. I think I'm saying his name better now. I had a heck of a time trying to say his name. But he opened the door while the Baron was downstairs, and the sunlight came in, and toasty. So, yeah, he's done. So now we're back upstairs as this episode starts, and our group of vampires are still high as a kite because they drunk drug blood, and they brought the crispy corpse upstairs, and they want to put him back into the into his coffin. And Naja's messing around. They're just high as kites. And Naja tries to put the hat on the corpse and breaks the corpse, and she breaks it. Oops. And Nandor's trying to find Guillermo, and he's yelling at Guillermo, but it was not Guillermo. It was the Stairmaster. And as Laszlo puts it, the master of the stairs. Because that is what the Stairmaster is. The master of the stairs. So where is Guillermo? Well, he's outside hiding in the bushes playing with that little squeezy toy that I'm squeezing the heck out of it because he is super stressed out because he killed the Baron. So that's not good. And so now they don't know apparently. Because they're high and they're messing around with the corpse. So the following night, they are having a funeral for the Baron. And they have no idea how he died. So they don't. They have no clue. They're burying him between Laszlo's favorite vaginas, his mom and his wife's, but they're discussing the whole time how'd he die, because they didn't know if they killed him or not. And Guillermo's sitting there knowing what happened, but he's not going to say nothing. So what was really cool is it gave his last drink, last blood, and his eyes turned. It's almost like he was kind of alive. It was kind of neat looking. All of a sudden, as Guillermo notices that there's a raven staring at him, which is bad luck. It means bad luck is coming. And sure enough, as soon as they said that, there is Colin Robinson. And I love how they don't say Colin. They call, it's Colin Robinson. It's Colin Robinson. They always say his full name. And of course Colin is messing with them, and now he's feeding off them because they're miserable. So of course he's feeding off them, and they're hoping no one else finds out. But then they notice that the Baron's familiar is staring at them through the window. Not a good sign. And then they notice that there's a bunch of ravens above their head circling, and that's not good. So they bury the Baron as fast as they can and get inside, because these birds are coming down and hitting everything. They hit the windows and everything, and so not a good sign. Guillermo tells them that there's a floating lady at the door that needs to talk to him. And the floating lady at the door is Kristen Stahl. I think it's Shaw. And she's a really funny comedian. And she's basically telling them, you have been invited, and we've sent you a message through Raven, and Nandor's like, why didn't you call? He goes, well, we sent you 500 Raven. And what? Oh, because we don't even know how. He goes, just pick up the Raven and said, hey, I'm coming. He goes, hello, Raven, we're on our way, and just send away Raven, fly, Raven. And so she basically says you've been summoned by the Vampire Council. And so they have to go see the Vampire Council. They don't know what it's about, but they do have a clue. So the Vampire Council is supposed to be very old and very scary. So they have to go see them. And Naja and Laszlo are talking about it, where he almost got, summoned by them because he turned a baby into a vampire, which was apparently extremely forbidden. And he messed up. And she was even going, we should go visit him. Because, no, I think not. So they head to... They go see the council. The Temple of Blood Devourers. That's where it's called. So they're heading over there, and sure enough, there's Christian Saul's character inviting them in, and she's putting up this little sign that says Vampire Council. I guess it's not there during the day. Obviously, it would be kind of weird. And she keeps disappearing. She goes from one point to another point, disappearing. It's really freaking out Naja. She's like, how does she do it? She's on the outside of the elevator. Then when the doors open, she's on the inside. And then when they're on the inside of the elevator, when the door, she's on the outside. And now she's like, what the heck? So they're going down this freaky long hall. And she's just... and by the time they get to the end of the hall, they open the door. And there's the council. Or so they think. and it's two vampires, and one of them is Alexander Hendrickson, who plays Basilica the Defiler, and the other one is Dave Bautista, who we all know plays Drax in Guardians of the Galaxy, and he's simply known as Garrett. So they go in there thinking they're the council. Guillermo can't go inside, so Christian Saul's character, the floaty lady, is trying to get this weird vampire dude to take him to where he's supposed to stay, and she can't. She's going to take him herself. So the crew are inside and explaining what they did and showing how they had their serious faces on and everything, and they're taking this seriously. Tell their whole story. As they're doing that, Guillermo's heading down the hallway with Christian Stahl's character, going to wherever they're supposed to go, some room. So they finish their story, and they're basically going, "That's a great story. They'll probably believe you." And he goes, "Yeah, the council." He goes, "You're not the council?" He goes, "No." He goes, "They said we're prisoners here too." They're like, "What?" He goes, "Yes." He goes, "We've been here 1,000 years." They're like, 1,000? Yes, since 1932. And they're like, "Wait a minute, that's only 90 years." So they asked, "What'd you do?" And Alexander Henderson, the Basilica, she did too much defiling. Yeah, that's what it was. And Dave Bautista's apparent character, Garrett, was apparently accused of turning a baby into a vampire. I mean, it wasn't him. And he's mad. He goes, "If I find him, I'm going to stab him, with this hand, and I'm going to stab him with that, and then I'm going to finish him off with this hand, and all." And he goes, "All the things I'm going to do to him." Leslie's just sitting there, just listening to him, going, "Oh crap." He goes, he's going to deserve what he gets. So Christian Saul's character comes back and says, "They will see you now." They were busy taking a break apparently. So they end up going to see the real council this time. So we head back to Guillermo, and he's now in a room full of the other familiars, and there's like 5 of them in there or so. So I guess they're part of whoever the council's familiars, I'm guessing. So I'm not too sure. So they head off. We go back to we head back to the council, and the council is doing this dance number. I mean, it's some elaborate dance number, and I was like, "What the F is this?" And Christian Stahl's character, the floaty lady, she explains. She goes, "Yeah," he goes, "since this is probably going to be your last day or night in existence, they are doing this number, and they rehearse this for decades, and they're all doing this weird little dance." And I'm like, I know these guys. I've seen their faces before. So once they finish, the trial starts, and the leader is Tilda Swinton. And I was like, "Hey, that's pretty cool. That's Tilda Swinton." And so she calls to order the meeting, and telling what they're there for. And so Taika Waititi's character's there, and the character from the movie of What We Do in the Shadows, and this is fantastic. So he introduces everybody. He introduces Tilda, and that's her name, Tilda. Her name is Tilda. So she's waving, "Hey, how you doing?" And so then he introduces, himself. He's Viago. And then to his right, he introduces Deacon. And he's also in the movie. Then next to him is Jermaine the Pointer. And he's also in the movie too. So this is the Pointer. The next was Evan, the Immortal Princess of the Undead, who is Evan Rachel Wood, which he just says, "Just call me Evan." So, but that's Evan Rachel Wood. Then they show Danny Trejo with his tattoos, open shirt tattoos. They show Paul Rubens, and he's there too. And via Skype, Wesley Snipes. So these are all people who played vampires at one point or another in their careers in movies. And obviously Wesley Snipes is not really, well, he's half vampire. So even Danny Trejo's like, "I'm only going to listen to half of his suggestions." And he's going through some Skype thing, and it's really bad connection. And then also on the council is Colin Robinson. So they're ready to go. So they call their first witness, and it's the familiar of the Baron. And they're not worried because she doesn't talk. Well, guess what? She talks. So she tells them what's going on, and what happened, that they partook in the eating of human food. And they're like, "Ooh, that's disgusting. Oh, yuck." And then they told them that they basically were, plotting to kill him. And they're like, no, that didn't happen. So we go back to Guillermo, and he's in there talking with the other familiars. Comes to find out, they're all waiting to become vampires. And this old guy, he goes, I'm going to become a vampire really soon. And he goes, and when I become a vampire, he goes, y'all can be my familiars. And he's been waiting for decades, apparently, to become a vampire. And the Camille's like, Guillermo's like, does anybody know any familiar that's been turned into a vampire? And they're like, yeah, that's a question there. So this is kind of a running thing right now through the show, if you think about it from the beginning to now. And so it's going to be interesting to see how this continues to play out. So now they call our next witness, and it's Guillermo. And so he basically is there, and he says they did not kill him. He goes, they did, float around the idea. And they're like, well, who killed him? And he goes, I did. And they don't believe him. Because, I'm sorry, it's just hard to believe that you did. I mean, if you were a bigger dude, they're like, I don't see it. They're laughing about it, and they're like, there's no way. There's no way. So then they decide, well, let's just eat this guy, and we'll let the rest go. And they're like, no. And Nandor's, no. He goes, I've had enough of this. He goes, we killed him. Which he didn't, but he's protecting Guillermo, which is really nice of him to do, considering the way he treats him sometimes. So they're like, well, this is what we've been saying from the beginning. So they go, all in favor, show your fangs. So they all show their fangs, the original crew from the movie, Paul Rubens, Evan, Rachel Wood's character, Wesley Snipes, and the baby's there. So the baby's showing his fangs too. So they're heading down a hall to their doom. Because they have been condemned, and they're gonna go be put into a well and let the sunlight hit them. I think that happened in Interview with a Vampire, I think. So anyways, they try to escape. Needless to say, it doesn't work. They catch him. Nandor tries to take these axes off the wall, and he can't get them off the wall. And Kristen Stahl's character just sitting there staring and just doo-doo-doo. And he goes, what are they, super glued on here? And he just can't get them off. And they, of course, like I said, they get captured. And they're making, you're a vampire, you couldn't even take them off. He goes, no, they were on there pretty hard. Meanwhile, Guillermo's still running. And he's trying to get out of there. And he runs into another vampire. And he whips up his cross. And the vampire flies back into a stake, and he kills another vampire. He's like, it was a mistake. So we head over now, and the three originals are saying what's going to happen, that they're going to be put in there into the well, and it's going to be horrible, and that's how they're going to die. And they show the well, and then they go to the well, and there's like these three bodies. Well, it's not them yet. It's the bodies from the other people who were put in there, other vampires who were put in there and sentenced to die. And and the three of them were like, they could have cleaned this. So Guillermo, meanwhile, is running through the woods, panicking and just running and screaming like a little girl. So basically, we go back to the well, and they're basically condemned. They're going to die. And they're confessing. Nandor's like, I wish I was better to my horse, and I wish I was better to you two. I think they were dying with two perverts. And Laszlo is like, I was Jack the Ripper. I never told anybody that. And should have did that, had sex more. And Naja's like, you've had plenty of it. You had a lot of sex. And so the sun comes, and it's like, it's going to hurt. And then sure enough, they're, we're going to die. And they're screaming, and Naja's like, Gregor! And right before they go poof, this thing goes over the grate of the pit, the well. And it's Colin Robinson with an umbrella that he got from a hardware store, apparently. And he's with Guillermo. He found Guillermo screaming and pissing his pants and then running through the woods. And Guillermo's, no, I wasn't. And he goes, he was scared. So no, I wasn't. He was freaking out. And he just kept saying no. So Colin is basically saying, yeah, I'm kind of feeding off you now. And they're like, oh. And so he gets them out of there, and they put him in a box. And Colin keeps pushing the box. Oh, roller coaster for vampires! Oh, and he asks Guillermo, how long you been with us? He goes, 10 years. He goes, wow, you're still still up there. He goes, yeah. And he's basically starting to put two and two together. He's not gonna become a vampire. And Colin at the end is basically, oh, I'm sorry about your crew. You might want to get them out of there. They're in extreme danger. And right at the end, they show the two crew members sitting there looking up, going, looking like, is someone going to get us out of here? And that's the end of the episode. This was such a good episode. It was so good. It was the all the guest stars in it were so funny. They were excellent. Wesley Snipes, bad Wi-Fi, which he said he has great Wi-Fi. Always behind on the conversation. Danny Trejo with his open shirt. Just check out his tattoos. Just seeing Paul Rubens there, and I remember him as the vampire in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I remember that. And it was so good. And Colin is just getting better and better and better. I mean, he's just a great character. And I remember when I first saw him in the first episode, I really didn't like him. I was like, I don't think he's going to be good. And he's become such a good character. And and Guillermo's whole story with, from the beginning where he wants to be turned, from the first episode where he thinks he's going to be turned into a vampire, he's not. And remember, Jenna has been turned into a vampire, and I believe she should be showing up, I imagine, before the season end, which I believe is the 29th, I believe. It's right at the end of May. So I'm hoping she shows back up, because I really want to know what happens with her. And it's so good. So, yeah, this episode was excellent. I'm really, really happy about it. I mean, it was just fantastic. The guest stars were awesome. Oh, and that's right, I almost forgot to mention something else about the whole crew that they had. I almost forgot. They also mentioned other vampires. And I can't believe I almost forgot to mention this. They mentioned Rob, who's Rob Patterson from Twilight. Kiefer Sutherland. They says Kiefer and Tom, and he couldn't make it. Kiefer and Tom. Got Tom Brady. God, bleh. Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt, who were, as you know, vampires also. And they just couldn't make it, which is really cool. It opens a door to them coming. Hopefully they can get them to come on the show, which would be awesome. I love that. I think that's fantastic what they did there. Just, dropping those names that they could come back. And who knows what other vampires they can put on there. I'd love to see some of the more of the Buffy ones, like Spike. That would be awesome. Or David Brands, his one, Angel. That, oh gosh, how good would that be? Oh, that would be so good. So there's plenty of. They could even bring George Hamilton. He was in Love at First Bites, older movie. That would be great. So you have all sorts of options. Man, they left the door wide open for it. So I love the episode. The episode was fantastic. I mean, and again, if you guys haven't watched this episode, you shouldn't be listening to this. You should be watching the episodes. They're awesome. Check them out. I highly implore you to do it. It's fantastic, and you will love it. So thank you very much for watching this show, this review. I do appreciate it. Leave a like if you like what you heard. Leave some comments if you want. Again, I want to talk to people about this show. I think it's fantastic. Thanks again, guys, and I will see you here in another review of What We Do in the Shadows. Bye-bye.